Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. I'd like to open the meeting. May we start with an inspiration by Sylvia.
Morning, everyone. I used this once before and I like it. I'm going to use it again. You are never too old to set another goal or dream a new dream. Every day may not be a good day, but there's some good in every day. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that extra. So be happy that when other people look at you, they become happy too. Thank you.
Now, if we can do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And do we have any announcements this morning?
Hi, everyone. It's Kate. I have an announcement. Just a reminder, 1 week from tomorrow will be our Shakespeare in the Park outing. So for Comedy of Errors, probably set in the 70s. I haven't seen the reviews on it, but the photographs or the graphics would make me lead to believe that it's modernized that way. So it's 7 p.m. Shakespeare in Delaware Park, Friday, August 16th. Thanks, Carolyn.
Now,
David has an announcement or something.
Perhaps next Thursday at 9:30, we could all meet at Olive Leaf and have a little breakfast in person next week at 9:30.
All right.
That work for you?
Good plan.
Mull it over. We'll give it some thought.
I'll let David Shannon know. He said his surgery it went well. He should be back online next week. Also,
I let him know yesterday at the Optimist meeting, and he'll be online this morning. If he isn't already.
We'll see. Okay, great. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
I have an announcement too. Don't forget next week our Area 11 director, Richard Teal, will be on. So just want to give everybody a heads up on that. Thank you.
Eric, are you planning on attending and you can introduce him, or do you have something else in mind? So he's our area. He's zooming in from Virginia or something.
Yes, he'll be zooming in from Virginia. I'll try to be on because I'll be still at work on the morning. So, but I can introduce Richard to the club. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to turn the meeting over to Dave Licata, our Toastmaster of the day. Dave.
Good morning, everybody. Let's start out with a toast. But first, a little preface. Unfortunately, for what it's worth, my tradition is, oh my gosh, the Erie County Fair started and the Buffalo Bills have an exhibition game this weekend. So for me, that pretty much means summer is over, but I thought I'd choose summer is my theme today to maybe stretch it out and make it a little bit nicer. So it's Midsummer Memories. I said, oh my Lord. Perhaps everyone could share a memory prior to their participation, as we've done so often in the past. I'd like to proffer a toast now. Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mom is good looking. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Here's the summer. Boom. So, Toastmaster meetings are fun, but they're more fun when you have a word of the day. So we're going to talk to our word master, grammarian, and odd master, my friend Tracy Farrell. Tracy.
Why, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. our word of the day is anamnesis. Now,
What?
exactly, it's going to be a very difficult word to use today. However, it fits our theme perfectly. It's a flashback of something, or recalling to mind or reminiscence. It's a noun. So use it in place of flashback, such as biting into that plum brought, or an anamnesis brought on by biting into that fresh plum in the orchard brought me back to my time.
Could you spell that, please, Tracy?
Yes. ANAMNESIS.
Well, that is quite a word. Edna would be so proud of you. I wish Edna could be here for this word.
So I
Now,
know it's going to be difficult to use today, but let's try to learn a new word today. I learned a new word, obviously. I'm
That is
also
quite a
going to
word.
be the master and the grammarian. And I will report
Great.
back. I would ask that I be the first report at the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you
Thank you.
very much. We're here to learn, and we have to measure our learning by taking quizzes. Our quiz master, Mary Cabanero. Mary.
I'll be asking questions and I'll report back to the end of the meeting.
Mary, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
There she is. Okay. Our general evaluator is Joe Budniak. Joe, explain your duties, please.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, everyone. I will be evaluating the evaluators and the general tone of the meeting and using my anamnesis to recall everything that was said so I can give a fair report. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Our quote master is crusty old Phil, my dear friend Phil Russell, down there by the lake, I guess.
Of course. Of course, of course, of course. Of course, of course, of course. My anamnesis came to me when you said midsummer. It goes back when I was a young person on Gooding Street. We had wooden steps on our front porch. And I would be maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5, I can't remember. But I remember on a summer's morning when the sun was up, and I was up before everyone else, before play started with the neighborhood, one of your cousins, the LaPointes, and those folks. And what I would do is I would go and lay the step, we'd have a chilly morning, and I'd lay on the step because the step was so warm that, and I'd look across the street and I'd watch the cars go by. And it was so nice just laying there with the sun beating down on my back, my tummy being warmed by the nice warm steps, and just looking out across the street at the beautiful trees and nice quiet midsummer morning quietness. Now, as far as quotes, you really threw us a softball here, Dave, because we just got through with Shakespeare and Midsummer Night's Dream. So I do have a few quotes to go with that. Here they go. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is a winged Cupid painted blind. Second one, the course of true love never did run smooth. I know a bank where the wild thyme grows, where oxlips and the nodding violet grows. And to quote one of our members from last week, though she be a bit little, she is fierce. Mr. Master.
Well, I retract that trusty statement. You were so poetic this morning that you your new name, your new Delta Tau name will be Percy Dove Consuls.
Oh.
All right, David Shannon, he said, I'm going to do a jest, and I thank him for filling in because he's going to be showing up later as a speaker. So Dave, please take it away. But tell us something about your summers. Is he there? Promised me he'd be there.
No, not yet. Maybe having tech issues.
Well, if he shows up later, we'll let him do a joke and a speech.
Okay.
So I would like all the membership in attendance today to quickly go to your hip pocket and see if there's a speech in there if that poor man can't sign on. Jackie Kenny, share with us an amethyst of your summer, and then explain this timing thing to us that after 40 years, we still can't get straight. Jackie? Oh dear. I'm 0 for 2. Jackie.
I do not see Jackie on either.
Well, isn't that great? Maybe she'll sign on later because she's very good about signing on. And she says she's going to do something. She generally does it. Oh, dear. We need a timer because I want to go into table topics. So we need a timer.
I can be timer. Dave, this is Kate.
Kate, thank you so much. A
You're very
quick
welcome.
explanation on the table topics timing.
The table topics timing, 1.5 to 2 minutes in our club with a 15-second buffer. Use the word of the day. Oh, sorry. That's
No,
outside
no,
of my
that's
realm.
fine.
But
That's
use the word of the
fine.
day, which I still don't know how to say. Can someone put it in the chat or can I Google
Oh,
it?
you want to take a shot at amethyst?
Amethyst. It's not amethyst.
Why would anybody pick? You know, I got
Isn't
a
that a
list. And you
stone?
pick that word.
That's a stone amethyst.
It's a different word.
All right. Our table topic master, the irrepressible Mike Florio, and Mike, some warm summer memories of the West End of Lockport, perhaps.
Wow. The West End of Lockport. The memories I have, fishing in the canal, just hanging out with my friends, playing football at Charlotte Cross, hanging out at Grossi Park, keg of beer. You know, but summer was great. And summer is my favorite time of the year. I love it. A little barbecue, golf, lots of it. Spending time with the family. I had my aunt in from New York who came in and visited last week, and we all just had a really good time. And just summer is my favorite time of year. Hanging out in shorts and a t-shirt, getting a little bit of sun, just taking it easy, taking care of the pool, things like that, all of that. So I want to know, Dr. Gerald, I don't think you have a job this morning. What you any road trips planned, or what was your favorite summer road trip? Let us know. And anamnesis. Anamnesis. I'll get it. I'm learning.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I definitely am having a few anamnesis thoughts right now, thinking about previous trips I have planned for this summer. Still a little bit left. I'll be joining our fellow Toastmaster David Jones at the Toastmaster International Conference here in Anaheim shortly. So that should be amazing. And look forward to seeing the semifinals and the finals of the World Championship of Public Speaking. Should be amazing. I expect to have my mind blown and meet quite a few people from around the world. Should be a good time. A part of that trip, I will be going to Sequoia National Park, take my wife there. Pinnacles National Park. It used to be a monument when I lived out there. Now it's a national park. And a place called Channel Islands National Park off the coast. Should be interesting, seeing a lot of animals there and giant trees, and it'd be nice to get away for 10 days. So I'll enjoy all that. Favorite trip of all time, I would say in the summer. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Sorry
Dave.
to interrupt.
I probably would say it'd be my 3-month trip from Greece to Turkey through Jordan, Syria, Israel, and Egypt. And that was during a summertime. And I often have talked about that. It is actually one of Dave Licata's favorite speeches of mine. He often has me tell people that are new Toastmasters that story, the main story anyway. So I really enjoyed, I do enjoy the summer for sure. And my second favorite would be Olympic National Park, I would say, and Washington State, Mount Rainier, Seattle, just beautiful, beautiful place. If I had to move somewhere and I had tons of money, that's where I would move. Thank you very much, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Dr. Gerald. And Zach, would you like to participate this morning?
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right, well, great. What is your favorite summertime activity? And do you have any summertime traditions? And remember, Zach, to use the word that I can barely pronounce.
Some of the civilian casualties there.
Can somebody please mute?
But it's clear the war in the Middle East has dogged this White House. And there are certainly expectations that there will be significant protests, perhaps.
Who's our tech master on today that
There
can
we go.
mute us? There we go. Okay,
There we go.
there we go.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Anamnesis. Amen.
I did Google it and it says I can pronounce it anamnesis. Maybe I have the wrong word. But so the first question that Dave had asked was memories of getting feedback again. Are we good? All right. Sorry. Dave had mentioned favorite memory on the west end of Lockport. I'm not originally from Lockport, but I bought my first house on the east side of Lockport behind the sales over in the Carlisle Gardens, and I lived there. And where I have a fond anamnesis of the memories that I had in that house, because I was able to participate in my favorite summer activity, which is golfing. So I did join the Lockport Country Club for my time living in Lockport. And that was also during COVID. So I would get up before work and play 9 holes. And then after work, I would play 18 holes. And Saturdays and Sundays, I would play 36 holes. And that was definitely my favorite summer activity, as well as a great anamnesis of my first house in Lockport. Since then, it's shifted a bit where I still love to golf, but with the young children, as I've mentioned, sometimes golf has to take a back seat, and I am totally okay with that for the time being until my 2 little boys hopefully will want to golf. And if they don't, that's fine too. But my wife has said that I can join a club again once the children tell me that they're interested in golf. So I'm always sitting there feeding my youngest son, Luca, saying, golf, tell mommy when you can speak that you want to golf so we can join the country club again. Other favorite activities is hanging out with my friends and family. I believe a keg was mentioned earlier. And so, as I mentioned in my last conversation, beer is very important to me, as well as golf. So the mixture of that plus family is what I look forward to most in all times of the year, not just summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Kindred spirits here. Dave, you want to tell your joke? We could move that in, but go get off mute first. And then we'll do the final.
All right. I'm ready to tell my joke. What do I do? I don't see myself in there. Oh, there I am. Okay. Okay.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Please bear with me. It's a little story that ends up kind of funny. So it's a story joke. I worked at the New York School for the Deaf in White Plains, New York. That school was founded in the year 1817. Not 1917, 1817. I joined 160 years later in 1977. I did not know sign language, but I was learning as fast as I could. But what I did learn was half the teachers were deaf and half the teachers were hearing like me. Well, my job, if there was a fire drill, was to go to the deaf teachers on my floor and tell them there is a fire drill using sign language. Okay, that's not a problem. The sign for fire is this. It's your fingers wiggling and going up and down like that. That's the sign for fire. Okay, so on this certain day, I went and I told the two teachers that were deaf that there was a fire drill. They thanked me, and I went back to my classroom and I found the kids and I counted them. I said, "Where's Otilio?" And they said to me, "Oh, bathroom. You got to tell him about the fire drill." I said, "Okay." So I went to the bathroom, and sure enough, Otilio was in there. One of the stalls was closed, and he was in there. Now, if I knocked on the door there, he wouldn't have heard it. So I had to do it. I got down on my back on the floor, scooched underneath his door, and went like this: fire, fire. All of a sudden, there was a lot of motion going on, and I kind of scooched back out, and he opened the door, and we both ran out to the classroom, and he said, thank you, telling me about the fire drill." So that was kind of funny for me. 5 years later, 165 years after they were founded, they added to the bells, they added strobe lights. So it won't happen again. So that was kind of a funny story for me. And that was an introduction to the School for the Deaf. That's my story for the day. I'm glad to come back and see you guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Dave.
You're welcome.
Okay, that was a good filler. Last, but definitely not least, David Jones. You don't have a job this morning, do you?
No, sir.
All right. Well, good morning. What's your favorite summertime activity, and how do you stay cool down there?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. First, I want to think about the anonymous and my nemesis, Dr. Barish, who was my 5th grade teacher, and we'd always have really hard spelling words. I don't know why, I remember the word flower and tractor, which I was struggling with in 5th grade. So he was my nemesis, not my anonymous. But as far as summer goes, it's usually camping up in the Appalachian Mountains, because they're usually 10 to 15 degrees cooler than it is down in Charlotte, because we're about a mile above sea level at certain areas of the mountains. And in fact, not Labor Day, what's coming up next, September 1st? It's whatever that holiday is, that we're going up for 4 days. My group of friends and I, we go way up in the mountains, and we'll be doing that this summer for just to cool off, to get together and have a good time. So that's my main activity now during the summer. Back when I lived in Miami, which is where I'm from, obviously we're always at the beach or going to Disney or going down to the Florida Keys. But now that I'm in North Carolina, I've actually never been to the beach in North Carolina. It's about 3 hours from Charlotte, and I had enough of the beach. So now my life is the mountains and hiking, and so that's pretty much what I do during the summer. Thank you. I think I have a buffer. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thanks, Dave. I think we will now go to our step-in timer. Kate, how did our contestants do?
They all did better than me. Thank you all for your participation. Everyone did qualify. I don't have an exact time on everybody. David, you did make it. Even without the buffer, you just reached your mark. So good job, everybody.
Thanks, Kate. Let's go to the word master. How did they do with our word of the day?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I'm happy to report everybody did use it. Zach, you get a gold star. You used it 3 times, and you told us how to pronounce it. So, and David Jones, you also used it twice. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. I will now, you can cast your votes this morning for Gerald or David or Zach. And I will hand it back over to our Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Licata.
Thank you very much, Mr. Table Topics Master. Nice job. I was away for a moment there because my phone decided to disconnect me from Zoom, but getting used to all this, I got back on quickly, and let's hope I can stay on. I had a moment. Oh, please vote. We can vote now. And I was struck by the fact that Zach's first home was in the Carlisle Gardens, and so was mine. I lived at 126 Windermere, and that's where I had my wonder years. And I want to know from Zach, do they still have the Carlisle Gardens picnic, which is 1 week after Labor Day? So be on your toes for that, because I won that parade best costume 3 years in a row. Well, did you have any doubts? So that would be an amethyst, whatever that is. Yes, that would be a memory for me. Another summer memory for me this time of year, and it was about this time of year, oh, so long ago in 1967. One of my classmates, and we were a tight class, we were only 119, and we were divided, we were co-institutional, not co-educational. So the boys got to know each other real well after 4 years. We had a little party because one of our members was going away to the University of Dayton. And that was the end of it. That was the end of my school career. We dragged it out until August, but the curtain came down on my 4 years of DeSales that night. So that's a summer memory. All right, we've all voted. I gave time a little speech so people could collect their thoughts. And that brings us up to evaluator number one. And evaluator number one is Beth Banks, and she's going to be evaluating speaker number one, Dave Shannon. Good morning, Beth.
Good morning, Dave. I don't have information on Dave's speech, and I certainly don't blame him for that. Being away for surgery does make things a little bit more complicated. So we will just enjoy his speech this morning, and I will evaluate him. As far as my own anamnesis, or anamnesis, whichever way you want to pronounce it, I actually had that a couple of weeks ago. I went to my brother's house. They needed someone to help pick beans. They have a lot of beans. It was very much an nemesis for me because my parents and my grandparents also lived in that house. So driving in, all I could think of was swimming in their pool and definitely taking care of the gardens when my parents lived there. So that was an interesting flashback for me. Dave, good luck with your speech. Let us know what you're going to talk about. Thank you.
I was under the impression, and maybe people didn't take it that way, that I was supposed to be the jester for this morning. And so I wasn't giving a speech, I was giving a short story that, which to me was kind of funny. But was I supposed to do a tabletop speech? I wasn't aware of that. I thought I was the jester.
You were speaker number one.
I thought I was the jester this morning.
No, you volunteered to be jester. And I said to you, well, I said, oh, good, you're going to do two jobs? Thank you. That's what I said yesterday morning. Not to scold. I hate to scold people.
Oh, no. So I had two jobs this morning. Okay. Well,
I'll tell you what, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put you on hold, You're going to scribble some notes and we're going to get back to you. And now you're going to be speaker number 3. So let's
I'm
tee
gonna
up.
do a 5-minute speech. Is that my job?
Oh yeah, I'm sure you can do it. I've known you a couple of years now. I know you can do it.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll come up with something. Thank you.
All right. Hey, Les, you ready to tell us about speaker number 2, which is Jill? Good morning, Les. How are you?
Good morning, Dave. Are you getting ready for Bills season?
Yeah, after bragging to the whole world that I gave up my season tickets, I'll be there Saturday for the exhibition game. As my partner, my ticket partner said, "Oh, you want to go to the game?" I said, "Yeah." But
Cool,
it
I'm
starts
ready.
at 1 and I'll be home at a decent hour. Go ahead.
Be interesting. I hope we go all the way. I hope we can say we are the Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, well, I say that all the time.
I know we all say it, but if we say it enough, it may happen. Okay, Jill, are you out there? I do not see her.
She's there. Got a
She's there.
magnificent backdrop.
Oh, okay. Jill has a 5 to 7 minute speech, and the purpose of her speech is to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring. And her topic is, I need my better glasses, unintentional mentors. Jill Roaring, unintentional mentors, 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Les. I hate these mentorship speeches because I have a hard time identifying mentors in my life for myself or where I mentored somebody. I've not had a good life, apparently. But everybody has to do it in the past. So here we go. And I thought about it. And I went with this thought that I've almost always had a quest for knowledge in my life. I have an incredible reading speed, and that helped me with my ability to learn things over the years. I always loved reading. Years past, I could read a 600-page book in a day and a half if I put my mind to it, or even if I put my mind to not doing anything else, really. And that quest for knowledge is kind of a result, sometimes a result of mentors. All the years that I had my store, everybody likes to think they're self-employed. You know what? You're not self-employed. Your customers are your employers. If you don't have enough customers, or if your customers aren't happy, you're not going to be self-employed. And what does that have to do with mentorship? Well, my customers ended up being my mentors in a way, because my business, I'm a small town, little store selling garden and pet supplies. Ultimately, it had changed over the years. Originally, it was geared towards the farmers, and farming industry changed, and our business had to change too because of it. But anyhow, the business at this point was relying on sometimes the little hobby farmers, but homeowners, pet owners, that sort of thing. And I found that people were always coming in and asking me questions. The horse stuff I knew hands down because of my career in horse college and 4-H horse program and everything. And a lot of that applies to the other animals, which I had learned over the years having the feed store. But the garden stuff, believe it or not, was not my first love. The garden stuff was part of the business. We sold seeds. We sold a few garden supplies originally. That grew as the store changed. But people were always coming in and asking questions. And I found that I had to learn how to find the answers. And sometimes, once in a while, you had to tell somebody, I don't know the answer, but I can look it up. Now, this was the days before the internet and people self-diagnose things. But I had books. I had my knowledge. And there's a little bee on my flower right in front of me. And that was enough to know. You have to know, if you know where to look, you can find the answer to anything. Even then, when I only had books. But I kept reading books. I kept reading magazines. And as my health issues have changed my ability to be around horses, I had to fill my life in with something else. And the gardening is probably about as expensive as it would be to have horses. But that love of gardening didn't happen because I had it all along. It happened because people asked me questions. And people wanted to know the answers to what was going on in their life and in their gardens. You know, what chewed up my leaf? At some point, I realized that was Japanese beetles. They had Japanese beetles south in Lockport and North Tonawanda a year or so before we had them in Wilson. But once they struck, they struck. And then I had to tell people how to control their Japanese beetles, which the way I control them nowadays, because of my mentors, has changed considerably. Back then, I just told people to spray everything. Now I try to do a natural garden, which again is because of the mentors out in the world around me. People learn on a day-to-day basis. How much you learn is up to you. And your learning can be really driven by that mentorship. So the unexpected mentorship. Who would think that the day-to-day customer coming in with a Japanese beetle issue or a fungus issue or a cloudy swimming pool would be my mentor? But they really did end up being my mentors. And that's what mentorship is all about, is absorbing what people give you. It's not always one person or one-on-one. It might be just the people that are around you and giving you guidance about where to go, even though you don't realize it. Unexpected mentorships. I think we all have them. Thank you.
Oh, David, you are still muted. I'll give an applause to Jill. Good job, Jill. We miss that being online.
Can you hear me now?
We sure can.
I have no idea why that popped up. I apologize. No, never apologize. I'm sorry. Our timer's no, we can move on to our third speaker. Thank you. Evaluator number 3 is my dear friend Marty Johnson, and he's going to evaluate Steve Smith. And I'd like Marty to check in now and tell us what Steve's goals are this morning. Good morning, Marty.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Steve is working from the Pathways Engaging Humor path. It's a level 3. Engage your audience with humor. 5 to 7 minute speech length. And the purpose of the project is for Steve to determine his style of humor and apply it to a speech that centers around a central message. Again, the time is 5 to 7 minutes. And then the title is Let's Get Back to Astronomy. Steve Smith, welcome.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted here. Good.
Yes.
Okay, where's the summer gone? It's August already. What have I been doing all summer? Well, as many as you know, one of my main loves is astronomy. But somehow I've drifted away from that this year. That's what I want to talk about this morning. What has been taking up all my time this year? Well, one big item that took up my time this year was the fact that I was the president of the Wilson Lions Club. Now I am the immediate past president. My term was up, thankfully, in June. But that was one problem after another. Now I know Phil is out there. He is also the past president of a Lions Club in Barker, so I'm sure he can relate to some of what I'm going to say. I hope he had a better experience than I did. One of our big problems was the fact that we didn't have a place to meet. And this is total deja vu. I was president back in 2015 to 2016, and we had that same problem because the Wilson House had closed, a place where we met forever, long before I was a Lion. But we got back that, so I thought I'm good. So what happens? Before my next term starts, they close again. This time, unfortunately, it might be permanent. So we spend most of the time trying to find a new place to meet. And this is when you find out what a bad job it is to be a president. Because no matter what you do, it is wrong. There are some people that love your choices and other people think you ought to be hauled out and shot. So every place we went to, there was a problem with it. Well, the big problem was they wanted to meet in Wilson. And the big problem with that, there are no places in Wilson to meet. There just aren't. We had Woodcock's Brewery. We tried to work with them and we just couldn't get on the same page. And now they're only open a few nights a week anyway. So that didn't work out. That left us with nothing. So we went to Alcott. We went to a couple of places and there was complaints about every place we went, even up to the end of my term. Now, our new president has found a different place to meet. I do hope that works out better for him, but it's your problem now, buddy. Now, one of my other problems in doing that job is, as many of you know, I don't have computer skills to speak of. In fact, for a long time, when I'm doing these speeches, I was getting these comments. You got to look at the audience. I am looking at the audience, and it finally dawned on me. I'm looking at this picture here on the screen instead of up at this little light at the top. That's the camera, and it took a long time to get through my thick head about that. That I should be looking up here at this instead of down here at the other picture. That way, it looks like I am addressing the audience, which was what I was trying to do. That sounds like a simple thing, but not for me. So that was a major headache. Other headaches, we have 3 yard sales a year because Wilson, in its infinite wisdom, decided we should only have 3 yard sales a year in the village. Now, there were some incidents years ago that prompted that decision. That's neither here nor there. I'm not going to address that, but that's the way it is. So we have 3 big yard sales. We just finished another one got to shut that down for another session. We're going to try it again on Labor Day. That's our big one. And after that, then we get the fun job of putting all that stuff away in the back buildings for the winter. But the main impetus is all this is all these things are taking my time. I want to get back to astronomy. Year started out great. We had a big solar eclipse coming right through here. I said, this is going to be a great year for astronomy. Well, Jill and I had countless meetings with village officials and other people and other businesses around the town, trying to get everybody on board, telling them what a big event this is going to be. The village didn't listen to me until people that they had to account to wanted to know what they were going to do about traffic control, which was anticipated to be quite large. That's when they decided, well, maybe they better talk to me because this is my field. So we did. We arranged a big event down there. We had a big top. We had some vendors down there. Everything went well, except the weather. It decided to be cloudy that day. We had like maybe a 30-second peak when it started, as what we call first contact, when the moon first hit the sun. Didn't see a thing till 4:25 when the eclipse was 99% over. And I caught a glimpse of it as it was leaving the sun. So that was a total bust. That kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. However, I did, and thank Toastmasters for this, I did get about 4 speaking opportunities to go talk about the eclipse prior to this. This is good. This is what I love to do. Although what I really love to do are my star shows. That's where I get to get out, react with the public one-on-one, talk about everything going on in the sky, and interact with people. That was the whole reason I joined Toastmasters, because I soon realized knowing all this and being able to present it are 2 different skill sets. I didn't have the second skill set. Mike Reinbolt finally talked me into joining Toastmasters, and that opened up a whole world for me. Then I found out I enjoyed doing this. Well, so far this year, May and June were a total bust. Cloud outs, rain outs, nothing. We get to July. That was our big BAA, Buffalo Astronomical Association picnic. So Jill and I spent days coordinating everything. I got food down there. We got tents set up. We got other people on board to help with some of the work that had to be done. That was the first great night under the stars. And it was a great night. That's when I realized how much I missed doing star shows. I was there. I got home about 4:30 in the morning. Now, as old as I am now, and I'm not really old, but I just turned 70. Now, this catches up with me a lot more than it did, say, 20 years ago. But I do it again in a heartbeat, and I'm going to it. That's the purpose of this whole speech. This weekend is our next star search, right down here in the Kruger Park here in Wilson, about 8:30 of sunset. That's the whole purpose of this speech, is a cheap plug for the star show. So please come on out and enjoy the wonderful sights this night sky has to offer and allow me to explain them to you. And I saw a post of, they want to know where the Wandering Gypsy is. It's on Braley Road, just off of 425. At any rate, that's my plug for the day. That's my call to action. Please come down to the Star Show and help me enjoy the night sky and enjoy what it is I'm doing. I do. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Hey, Steve, thank you very much. Now it's time to get back to my friend and fellow optimist, Dave Shannon. And I know that he's a retired academician with, he's like the 8th guy in his family to be a teacher. So I'm sure that my friend Dave had no problem putting together a 5 to 7 minute speech in the 15 minutes that he was allowed to prepare. How'd you make out, Dave? Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
I knew you'd come through, man. I knew it.
Thank you for your vote of confidence, Mr.
All right,
McConnell.
do you have a title for us?
Yes. When pulling a community together for the greater good is the title for my speech.
It sounds like it's rich with possibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, my brother optimist, Dave Shannon.
As Dave mentioned, I am a teacher. I love teaching. I love helping kids. I love bringing people together for a good cause. And my parents were teachers. Two of my three kids are teachers. My cousin's teacher. I can go on and on, but I won't. Well, I was teaching down in the Hudson Valley in a place called Blue Mountain Middle School. And an event happened in this country that we will never forget. 9/11 happened. And my school was 35 miles north of New York City. So we were very, very much affected. Unfortunately, and it's so sad, two of our students lost their fathers in 9/11. And everybody was, their heads were down and they were crying, and it was a really bad time. And I said to myself, we got to do something. We got to do something to raise the spirits of these kids and the community. And so I talked to my best friend, Diana Rhoda, who was the art teacher. And I said, Diana, what can we do to raise the spirits of our kids? They're so down in the dumps for great reason, but we got to do something to focus their attention. And I said to her, a lot of people are flying flags from their cars. They're attaching them to their windows. Why don't we do something with a flag? And her wheels started spinning, and she said, that's a good idea. Let's see what we can do. Well, we did something quite big. I said, let's build a flag. Let's build a flag on the property, and all the kids can concentrate on helping build the flag. And she says, okay. So we started making drawings and this and that. Well, we ended up building a flag right in the entrance to the property of Blue Mountain Middle School. It's 12 feet high and 18 feet across. It is mounted with I-beams, and there is 88,000 pounds of concrete holding it up. And then attached to the I-beams is a giant deck made out of Trex so it doesn't rot. And then we started building the stripes, and the stripes were made out of wood, then laminated with red and white half dome glass tiles. And that took a long time, but the kids were all excited about, Miss Jenny, can I help? Can I help? And I said, okay, you can help. What class do you want to miss? Oh, it was not important. I said, what class do you want to miss? Math class. I said, let me speak to your math teacher. And I spoke to that person's math teacher. She says, no way that kid can come out of my class just to help you with a flag. You have a great flag going, but he can't come out of my math class. I said, okay. So I got a lot of help anyway. And then we came to the stars. They were cut out of 1/4 inch white plexiglass. My 8th grade class, and I was a shop teacher, cut them on the bandsaw. So all the stars were cut by my 8th graders, and they know which one is theirs because each one represents a different state, and they were told which state they had. So we built this entire flag, and the whole community came together. I was so full of pride when the person for the wood donated, person for the concrete donated. In all, we collected $100,000 for that flag, and it is still standing. They even refurbished parts that were not holding up after 20 some odd years. But then the head of the food service came to me. She says, how can I make this job, this day special? I want to help. I said, okay. She says, poll the kids, tell them ask them what they want to eat on Flag Day. I said, all right. So I polled the kids, believe it or not, this is the honest truth. I asked them what did they want for the food on Flag Day, special food, whatever they wanted. Okay, Chinese food. All right. So I went back to the food service manager. She says, I got it. She went downtown to Chinatown to get the little lanterns and the little doodads that go with the meal, and she served Chinese food. But because it was Flag Day, she also served American food, hamburgers and hot dogs, and the kitchen staff was so funny. They said, we're going to make homemade apple pies for this event. So everybody was pitching in. We had 3 color guards to do a 21 gun salute. It was unveiled on Flag Day on 2003. It took over a year to build it. And all the kids got shirts, red, white, and blue shirts that said Flag Day, and everybody wanted to help. And if I created a few smiles and they kind of pushed aside the horrible event, that's great. So the flag was built, it was unveiled, we had a state senator, we were on national TV, and the kids today still go past it. Now they're in their 30s and they smile because they know they had a part of it. And that's what teachers do. They pull kids together for a common good. And I'm proud of what we did, but I'm even more proud of my community for pitching in every single. We were laying down the sod before the telecast the night before the Flag Day, and it was just done in time. It was sprinkle a little bit, and oh no, it's going to rain, and then it brightened up as we were just about to open the ceremonies. So that's a big story that I had from teaching. And I'm so happy that people saw that we needed to help the kids and the community recover. And that's what I did on Flag Day in 2003. And if anyone's interested, I can show you pictures. I got lots of pictures. And I hope to do more things. Now that I'm here in Lockport, I'm really excited about teaching ASL. And thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, for the opportunity to speak. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much. I'm going to check my. Oh, I'm not muted. Okay, great. Fantastic. Could we have a timer's report, Kate?
Absolutely.
For the speakers?
Happy to. All 3 speakers qualified. Jill, approximately 6:30. Good work dodging my lights. Steve, 6:53. Dave, 7:12. And I'm happy to report that Jackie will be jumping back in as timer for the evaluators. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. Before we go to the evaluations, I'm going to check in with my dear friend Jackie. And we have an incredible word of the day, Jackie. This time, please vote for one of the 3 speakers, the one that you learn the most from. This still is an educational club, so we can enjoy a speech, but we have to learn from a speech as well. And that's enough editorial comment out of you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. Oh, they want me to pick one. Hang on. Oop. There we go. I'm back. Okay, Jackie, how are you today and what happened?
Well, I had some technical problems. My computer decided to install a new update and it wouldn't let me do anything until it finished. And it took it like 5 tries before it actually finished the installation. So I apologize for not being present first thing in the morning, and I was not doing well with my phone as an alternate. But I'm here now and I'm ready to do things. So I will be timing the evaluators.
All right. My phone knocked me right out of the meeting. I had to get back on, so you're not alone. But what you missed, the theme this morning is Midsummer Memories. So you have to share a memory from a summer, and the word of the day is just amazing. Wow, it's
Anamnesis.
Anamnesis. So can you share an anamnesis whatever moment with us, dear?
Well, the summer of '65 was really good for me. I met this cute boy in high school, and we did spend the summer together. So I have a lot of nice memories from that date.
All righty. So let's get back to our dear friend Beth Banks. Now we're going to have a teacher evaluating a teacher. This should work out pretty good for us. Beth, are
I
you
think
ready with
so.
an evaluation of Dave?
I am ready to evaluate Dave for when pulling a community together for the greater good. I think he did an amazing job this morning. He's really good at the facial expressions, the gestures. I talk with my hands all the time. He and I get along just fine because we are alike in that way. There were only a couple problems I could see. He had a couple of false starts where he went from I told them to I asked them. That makes a lot of sense to me, suddenly having to do that hip pocket speech, not realizing he was speaking today. I was so impressed with that, Dave, that you could just, given 5 to 10 minutes, you could come up with a speech. As a teacher, we're planners. We plan, we thrive really on the idea that we plan out our day. I like to have plans. I like to know what I am doing. To be told I had to give a speech, I'm not sure I would be able to do that. So I'm very impressed that you could come up with a speech that quickly. I would probably have to refer back to some kind of classroom situation too, referring to something from 9/11. I think our age group, we do tend to go back to 9/11 and the after effects. Where were we that day? What was happening? So I totally understand that. But Dave, you made a great thing out of something that was terrible. So I really am impressed. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Dave, great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Beth. And now our second evaluator, evaluator number 2. Let's check in with Les Robinson. Les.
Hey, before I get started with everyone, I'm still looking for those why I joined Toastmasters and what I got out of Toastmasters for our PR program. So if you could forward those, I do have Phil's. We are just waiting for a couple others to be posted. And now I will start my evaluation of Jill. Jill, I enjoyed your speech a lot. I liked your opening. I also enjoyed your backdrop. I liked it that you were outside. It gave it the feel with the talking about the gardening supplies. You could feel that you could see yourself there with all of your special mentors. That's what I enjoyed. What I also enjoyed about your speech was the Japanese beetles. And you talked about them, how they were coming across Niagara County toward Wilton. And I could actually, you were talking about them. And this was the best thing I liked about your speech, is I envisioned this little army going across Niagara County, coming down Lower Mountain Road, down 425 toward Wilson. And you were prepared because you had already gotten the advanced information on how to get rid of these Japanese beetles. And that's what I really liked. You got talking about that part of it, and I could visualize that, and I started laughing. I thought, wow, that is pretty awesome on how that was done. That was number one. Number 2, you had great hand gestures. I liked how you moved around. Everything was incredible. What was kind of funny was you looked down too much in the beginning. That was a big no-no. Now, also, what you may want to have had was a couple gardening supplies when you talked about the unintentional mentoring. But I enjoyed the topic, number 1. Number 2, I saw that how you liked working with people. Also, your conviction to help people, the mentoring, how you took it with people, animals, plants, all three. You broke it down into something very different, very interesting, and very enjoyable. Now, one little thing I would recommend going forward, and take this as a little laugh or LOL, is I would think about interviewing the Foggy Pool. I believe you guys do have a pool, and it would have been kind of funny to say, over here's our pool that we're going to be interviewing, just as a little humor to it. But overall, it was a great speech. I love the visualization. You pulled me in, and you did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Les. It did remind me that the Japanese Beatles did have a #1 hit, She Loves You. I'm going straight to hell. Oh, sorry.
It's all right, Dave.
I couldn't help myself.
We know you went to England.
Okay. Now, this is so funny because if I rolled up my window and shouted, my neighbor, Marty Johnson, could hear me introduce him. Marty, let's do that third evaluation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Steve for the wonderful opportunity to listen to your speech project this morning. Steve's purpose was to find his style of humor and apply it to a speech that centers around that central message. And I feel he did that. He told us what his central message was, and that was his love for interacting with and speaking to people with his Star Search program. Steve, you excelled at speech organization. You had a definite beginning where you asked a question about where did my summer go? You had the body of your speech, the middle of the speech. You told us what all the busyness was about, what you were doing. And at the end, you gave us an encouraging word, and you encouraged us to attend your Star Search this weekend. Your speech was very clear. You had much clarity in your speaking. You had good eye contact, and yes, you were focused on that camera light. Two things to work on exaggeration and the pause. Number one, exaggeration. When describing your Star Search, I would have liked to hear you exaggerate more about finding those locations. Like we were looking under every rock and every nook and cranny, and exaggerate just a little more. And pause after each portion of that to give us a chance to catch up with you and to share our laughter with you. Well, Steve, for your next speech project, I would definitely use exaggeration, which I know you can, for the benefit, to your benefit. You had us in the palm of your hand. You just needed to exaggerate more to be more humorous. The Steve Smith Star Search has landed. Be at Kruger Park this weekend, Mr. Toastmaster.
Very nice. And now we've finished our 3 evaluations, so we have to hear from our timer so we can know who to vote for. Kate.
And you'll be pleased to hear that everyone qualified this morning.
Jackie.
Yes, yes.
Oh, Jackie's back.
Beth at 2:11, Les at 2:27, and Marty at 2:47. So everybody came in right on time.
Look out, old Jackie's back in town. Please take part in the voting. All the evaluators qualified. All right, there's that done. I believe that my dear friend Tracy wanted to be excused early, so we're going to let her do her report, and then we're going to go to the general evaluator. Was that the situation, Trace?
It was. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. So the word of the day did a lot better than I expected. Before the at the beginning of the meeting, Joe Budnick, Phil Russell, Dave Licata used it twice, and Beth Banks used it 3 times. That was all I heard of it throughout the meeting. The ahs and ums, I got to point out, Dave Shannon, before he knew he had to speak, had a lot of ahs and ums. However, during his speech, he was really pretty good. So once he knew what he was doing, he was actually very good. Steve Smith, you had 1 ah, and I did notice throughout the entire meeting, we had a lot of ands. We're replacing ands with our ahs and ums. Grammar, I think everything was good. I'm not your best grammarian, but that is my report for the day. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
All right, get on your way, Tracy, because I know your commute is longer now by a block.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Our general evaluator this morning is Joe Budnick. Joe, we're anxious to hear how we did.
How are you? So all of our evaluators did a wonderful job. They all used the sandwich approach. And Beth, I like how you mentioned how very well that your speaker came up with a speech at the last minute. It happened to me once, very early on in my Toastmasters career. I happened to come in one morning and pick up the agenda, and all of a sudden see I'm a speaker today and I didn't know. Panic. But fortunately, thank God, I managed to put something together. It happened to me. It happens. And Les, I liked how you mentioned how her setting being outside, Jill's setting was a nice touch and she had nice visuals. Marty, I liked how you mentioned your speaker's use of humor, and that was really good. That was a really good touch. So summer is my favorite holiday. I love to hear everybody's memories, everyone's favorite thing about summer. With me, it's visiting family because my mom and I and my 2 cousins were going to be going up to Ohio to see some family in another week, which I'm really excited about. So hope everyone has the rest of a very good, safe summer, and our evaluators did a great job. Good job, guys.
Thank you so much, Joe. Joe, I was a little tiny bit disappointed because you didn't give credit, because our speaker, she did release that butterfly to fly by at that precise moment that was right out of Disney. Cue the butterfly, came whipping across the screen and added to the content of her speech. But that's a small thing. Might have been
I thought
luck.
it was a bird. Yeah,
least,
seriously.
Yeah,
That's how observant I am.
Nighttime, it could have been a bat, but it was a bright, sunny day in sunny Wilson. Okay, we're gonna check in with our quiz master, Mary Caravanero. We're on our edge of our seats. We're ready to answer questions. Mary.
I have 5 questions.
Okay.
What is Mike's favorite season to do in summer?
Oh, Mike Florio, he likes to golf.
You like golf?
Where is Dr. Gerald going to move if he moves?
Oh.
Middle East.
The state, yeah, the state of Washington, I think.
Oh.
What is David Jones' favorite summertime activity?
Camping.
Hiking. Camping and hiking.
Camping in the mountains.
Yes, I have one more. Where was Dave Licata's first house?
Carlisle.
Window.
Lockport.
Carlisle Gardens.
Very good.
Mm.
126 Windermere.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Dave, back to you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Okay, now we've got all the reports. And I'd like to thank everybody for sharing those summer memories. It is a wonderful time of year. It is, as you're growing up, a lot of things, you hit a few milestones in your teenage years, your junior high, right through your, I'm leaving for college years. So I'd like to thank everybody for their participation. You were just excellent getting back to me, and you were excellent filling in the jobs. And I want to thank everybody. That was the cooperation was great, and I enjoyed myself. Is David Jones still on?
Yes, sir.
David? I was working at the winery the other day, Sunday. I had a lady in from Charlotte. I tried like hell to get her here this morning so you could harvest her for a club down your way, but sadly she didn't show up. She did write down AM Lockport and some other information, and I thought I was going to score a guess for you, but better luck next time. I'll work harder, Dave.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. Do we have the winners? Who's keeping track of who won what?
They were texted to you, David.
Oh, well, I apologize because my glasses are not the best and my phone is not the biggest, and I'm sorry I didn't see that. So, Len, if you could help me out with that, I would appreciate it so much.
Certainly. Our best table topics contestant this morning was Zach. Congratulations, Zach Brado.
Thank you, Zach.
Our best evaluator this morning, Beth Banks.
Ooh. Thank you.
And our best speaker this morning, Jill Roaring. Nice job.
Oh, nice job. Well, she cued that butterfly right on time. I think that was the difference. I am going to turn this meeting back over to the presiding officer, and I hope you have a great day and enjoy the remainder of your summer.
Well, summer is my favorite season, although I'm very thankful for air conditioning in the house and car this summer. I would like to mention an anamnesis. It's the Erie County Fair that I will be going to at some point next week. The first time I went with my husband, who was my boyfriend, I didn't want him to know that I didn't like going on rides. And so I went on the Wild Mouse with him. I braced myself so much, was wearing shorts, and all the skin was off my knees when I got off. And then I decided I'd admit to him that I didn't really like rides. So I would like to, if there's no other announcements, I would like to adjourn this meeting at 8:19 a.m.